All right, we are doing collector showcases. This is content that everybody wants. Want to talk to Chris. What we're talking about today is Christian McCaffrey, and I think it's. I confidently said, and you might be humble about this, or you might just say, "I know I do," but I think you have the best Christian McCaffrey collection there is. I've seen you start it. I've seen you evolve it. Let's talk about how the McCaffrey PC started. Like, how long have you been doing it? And anything else you want to share about it out of the gates?
Yeah, I think it started in late 2020, and Josh and I were just on this kick of, and it was led by Josh, and then I sort of like followed suit because he was making some really good points. He was like, skills position players in football can be really fun to collect. They're very high impact in fantasy leagues, so they matter, and people pay close attention to them for that reason. And their cards are, fractions of what the quarterbacks cost. So this could be a fun way to start a collection of a player at a fraction of the cost of a quarterback. And this was also during 2020 when prices of everything were really high. So, it was just like a way to continue collecting and having fun and trying something new. It was the first football collection I'd ever started. And that's how it started. Was I just, I needed to pick a player to focus on, and McCaffrey was the best fantasy football player in the league. He had won me a championship, and that was enough. I said, let's go. That's enough for me to get something started. And then, and now here we are, 4 years later.
You said something that I want to touch on, because recently I have had this I've had some conversations and people sending messages, and then also just overall engagement on posts. But like when I've been posting my T.Y. Hilton cards, it's just like inevitable, like comments, a lot of comments, a lot of engagement, a lot of DMs. And I'm just like, this is so weird, because it's like, I collect him because I collect Andrew Luck, and it was Andrew Luck's number one target. But as I've been digging into like, why am I getting this sort of reaction and response? It's the point that you said of, it's because these people own T.Y. Hilton in fantasy football, and they remember T.Y. Hilton getting in the touchdown or the end zone a lot. And that's a good feeling when we get points in fantasy. And so when people see his cards, it reminds them of those moments. And we've talked about the connection between fantasy and sports cards, ever since I've started this. But that like, to me is like, it's such a real thing. And I feel like it should give any collector out there confidence that if there's a guy you want to collect that scores a lot of touchdowns, but obviously isn't a quarterback, like, and you really like them, but you also like are considering like, man, I want his cards to hold value or whatever. Like, I think there's like a lot of room and potential for people to have fun, because fantasy football isn't going away, and it'll probably be even more integrated in the overall NFL fan experience.
Great points. It connects another set of dots as well, which is, when I was a kid, I loved reading the statistics on the backside of cards. And when I would like make my own cards as a kid, I would like make up numbers and put them on the back. I always loved the statistics. And fantasy is so oriented around statistical performance and measuring statistical performance and weighting it. A touchdown thrown by a quarterback is worth this. If they run it in, it's worth that. Reception, if you're in a PPR league, is worth this. And then the yardage is worth that. And it just encourages thinking about stats and the measurables of the game for individual players, which I love thinking about. And I think it also, if you really get into it, it pushes you in the direction of other avenues of statistical measurement in sports, which I love thinking about. I can identify that I've always loved the numerical side of the game from being a kid until today, and fantasy incorporates that. And then there's the numerical side to the hobby, whether it's thinking about pricing data, or thinking about rarity and print runs and population reports. I just I love the natural fit that the thought process of tracking fantasy football and how it fits into things I like about the hobby.
Where do you want to start here? You've got 12 cards, which I know maybe we start there. You've got 12 cards here, which I know your McCaffrey collection has been triple that in the past. Like, maybe talk about how we got to 12, and then we'll click into specific cards, and you can just kind of direct me where to go.
I think the McCaffrey collection was once over 100 cards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I sold a ton of McCaffrey cards last fall to consolidate into one of them here. But you know what I want to start with? I want to start with the one that I most recently picked up at the National. So, and that is his 2017 Select. Yes, the bottom right one right there. The 2017 Select Black 1 of 1 Concourse. This card was a card that I had thought about for years. And I'd never even seen a picture of it. I didn't even know if it had ever been pulled from a box. And nobody's opening 2017 boxes because that's Patrick Mahomes' rookie year. So the box prices are absurd. So it's just like I just figured this card might not even have ever made its way out of a pack. And I love that card. That card is so important to me because, and this is not the approach that anybody else needs to take, but it is and I'm not trying to push this approach to anybody. It's just my philosophy. But I really value, especially in a set that has multiple base cards in it, like Select does, I really value the first appearing base card. And Concourse for McCaffrey it's the first appearing McCaffrey base card in Select. And for that reason, I consider it to be his true rookie card. So
okay, let me ask you. So a lot of collectors lean towards the field level because of the perceived, maybe it's because I guess that's a good question because it's the highest level, or like in the non-serial stuff, people say that it's more scarce than the other stuff. So you're saying that you would rather have the base Concourse because it's first as opposed to the field level then?
I wouldn't say I'd rather have it. I think the field level is way more valuable. So I'd probably rather have the field level. And like some of the reasons why, I mean, like, first of all, just the manufacturer pretty clearly intended the field level to be seen as the best level. Like it's the rarest level. And they put the special checkerboard finish on the gold and the black and stuff. So like, I think the manufacturer intended that to be the most desired level. Also look at the name of it. Like it's the field level. It's the best level. It's the best seat. So I do think, and it's the same in basketball too. Like you have the court side, the Premier, and the Concourse, although they've added more tiers recently. But at that time you had those three. And so like of course, like that's the one that it's designed to be the most valuable. It should be the most valuable. But I don't always allow the manufacturer to dictate to me what I'm going to prioritize as a collector. In fact, I think a lot of times the manufacturers get carried away, and if they could get away with it, they might try to cram 10 base cards into Select and have you believe that they're all, the greatest card ever made. So I have to follow my own rules. And in this instance, and in all instances, I really like prioritizing the first appearing base card as being the true card, or in the case of a rookie year issue, being the true rookie, because the manufacturer can only make one of those. They can keep adding tiers, and after they add the field level tier, they can add the club level, and after the club level, they can add the sideline or whatever they're going to add next, the VIP tier, and they can just keep piling up the tiers on you. But you know what they can't do? They can't make more than one first appearing card. And so I like that. I like that approach. But let me be like very clear so that I'm not, misleading in any way here. Concourse is pretty much regarded as the lowest tier. I think the markets, some think Premier is the lowest tier because they don't like the die cut. But Concourse or Premier are seen as the lowest tier in most instances, definitely seen as the cheapest tier in most instances. And the Concourse base is almost always the most commonly available card. Of course, that doesn't matter when you talk about golds out of 10 or 1 of 1s. Then we know how many exist based on that print number. But But yeah, that's why I was so excited about this card, was because I really value the first appearance of a player in a set. And Select also has one other thing too. It has the XRC, which the XRC is a redemption card that's issued for top draft picks at specific positions from the year prior. So McCaffrey has, even though he wasn't even drafted yet, he has a 2016 Select card that appears on the 2016 checklist. But if memory serves, the 2016 XRC is an insert set in Select that is not a base set. So once again, even if somebody says, well, the XRC was a redemption card, it comes from a product before 2017, I would say it does. You're right. And if you value that, then the XRC is a really compelling card. And I do value it too, but it's not the first appearing base card for McCaffrey. The first appearing Select base card is the Concourse. The XRC is an insert. So we're splitting the finest of hairs here, but I love to think about this stuff.
How did you end up with this card?
Yeah, so this card was brought to the Card Letter booth on Saturday by
just a walk-up?
Dude, Chad of Journer Sports Cards, who has walked up a few cards now over the years, walked this card to the booth. And I was like talking to somebody, and at first he started talking to Christina, and he showed it to her, and then they waved me over, and I had no idea what this would be about. Because like we talk to a lot of customers or potential customers or, B2B relationships, and I have no idea that I'm about to walk over, and, he just shows me this card in a one-touch sealed with the Breakers seal. And he's like, yeah, this card got pulled years and years and years ago in a break. It's never been taken out of this one touch. The owner has no need to sell this card, doesn't need the money. But when I saw that he had this card, I asked if I could walk it over and just show it to you, so that even if nothing else happens, at least that it exists and that that it is somewhere out there.
I was like, the wheels started spinning, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they did. But what's so annoying is that I had given up on Select. I had just said, you know what, I'm gonna make, and I also gave up on Optic. Like when I had consolidated into the NT Shield, I gave up on the Optic. I let the Optic Gold Vinyl 1 of 1 go, and I had the Select XRC, and I let that go. And I just had given up on Select because I was like, the field level and the Concourse, like I do have the Premier level, but like the field level and the Concourse, they've just never shown up. And like, it's just, I have seen pictures of the field level. I know it's in a BGS 9.5, but I've tried to track it down for years. And every time the trail goes cold. So I had given up on Select, even though I love Select. I had given up on, I just said, I'm going to make my McCaffrey PC focused around Contenders, Prizm, and NT, because I think those are probably the three best brands. Contenders having the best autograph card, NT having the best patch autograph card, and Prizm having the best Optichrome true base cards. Like I'm just going to keep those three. But now this card has come around, and it was just it's great, but it's frustrating too. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not gonna go crazy here. I'm not gonna make an insane offer for this card because I passed on Select, but I made a reasonable offer. And Chad is just like, he's such a great guy. He took the reasonable offer back. I'm not sure what he said to the owner of the card or what may have transpired, but I think Chad said it like mattered to the owner that it was going to a collection and not to be flipped. And I got it. I took it right to PSA. I had 3 minutes to go before PSA closed shop on the on-site grading service, and I just snuck it in right before time expired. And next day it came back at 10.
Amazing. Can't beat something like that. Makes the national trip well worth it. You want to jump over to the other Select card you have here?
Yeah, I am a big fan of Select die cut black 1 of 1s. Many are not, but maybe it's just from 90s collecting, which has a lot of die cuts, but I think they're really cool. The Shield, some people call it the Select Shield. And this card I got from a Panthers collector years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. He had the XRC and he had that one, and I got it from him. And yeah, so this is McCaffrey's premier level. So it's his second appearing base card in 2017 Select. And I kept it even after I did my consolidate. And I kept this one, number one, because it's not super valuable. So like, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze on selling that one, but also because it pairs with my Mahomes. I have the exact same card, the exact same Select Premier Level Black 1/1 for Mahomes. So like, it's a really cool pairing. And for Mahomes, Premier is his first appearing base card. He doesn't have a Concourse. So the Mahomes Premier Level is a really special card, in my opinion. So I always kept the McCaffrey to pair it with the Mahomes. But guess what? Now I have 2 of the 3 2017 Select Black McCaffreys. Now I have to get the field level, and then I might have to go get that stupid XRC back.
Do you know where the field level is?
No, I try to find the path goes cold. I try to find it. I've seen a picture of it. It's in a BGS 9.5 holder, but path always goes cold.
Oh man! All right, what's next? What do you want to talk about next?
Let's do the NT Shield Auto.
The big boy.
Yeah. So this was
is this the most money you've ever spent on a McCaffrey card?
Yeah, it is. Yep, it is. I think that's a public auction. I think it went for $32,000 or $34,000. I think it went for 32, and I had to pay 34 because of all the taxes and stuff. But yeah, I think that's how that worked out. But that's a public sale. It was sold on Golden. That was a card. I knew where it was. I was trying to wait out the owner. I would make some strong offers, a little bit shy of what I paid at auction, but I made some strong offers, and he never budged. He also was the prior owner before selling it to LJ Sports Cards of the Mahomes of this exact card. Okay. He also had the Mahomes Shield autograph. So, and that card sold for over $4 million. So there's no offer I can make that's going to impress this guy, obviously. So I just kind of like waited that card out, not knowing if it would ever come to market, but it did. It came to auction. He sent it to auction at a smart time last fall when McCaffrey was like really playing well for the 49ers. And yeah, there was just no way I was going to lose that card. So I just kept bidding and won. And when you look at the Panini era and you look at the highest selling cards of the Panini era, almost all of them are NBA Logo Man autographs or NFL Shield autographs from National Treasures. So I do endeavor to become the best McCaffrey collector, and I can't be that without that card. Needed that card.
Yeah, because I know we've talked plenty where I know your conviction around cards and your love of cards. I feel like this isn't necessarily like your ideal lane, but because of the status of this card and because you have these aspirations to own the best McCaffrey collection, this card all of a sudden becomes a requirement in order for that to take place, right?
It does. Yeah, it does. And like looking at the other players that I collect in basketball, I don't think I'll ever own their NT Logo Man autograph 1/1s. Well, Michael Jordan doesn't have one, obviously. And he, like his important patch autograph cards, like his game jersey autograph card is just a multi-million-dollar card. So, Luka's Logo Man autograph 1/1 has sold for millions of dollars a few times. Jokic has an immaculate Logo Man autograph 1/1, but it's never been seen publicly, and some believe that it has never even been pulled. And even if it did get pulled or get seen, it would probably be an obscene amount. So McCaffrey is the player in my collection who I can, it was still a very expensive card, but he's the player in my collection who I can actually own a Shield autograph of, which is cool, So like that's a factor too. Is like I can stomach owning the NT True 1/1 Platinum for at least one of my players, as McCaffrey.
Oh, man, that's amazing. Should we go to the contender stuff?
Yes. Yep. So
which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the vertical. It's the better card. So McCaffrey has 2 Contenders base set cards, a vertical and a horizontal, and they are numbered differently. So the vertical is number 311, and like the horizontal is like 20 or 30 cards later in the checklist. So the vertical is the true. It's the true rookie card. It also looks better, and it's the, and then what we have here is the Super Bowl 1 of 1, the Super Bowl ticket 1 of 1. So this is, in my opinion, McCaffrey's best contenders card. And the way I got it, and the reason why I even have the horizontal version is because they were sold as a package. It was an eBay listing that had both cards in it. It had, somebody had amassed the vertical and the horizontal, and then they both graded PSA 8, and they both went to market at the same. They put them together. It was a lot. It was a 2-card lot.
Wow.
And I think they're even graded sequentially. I think the serial numbers are sequential. So I'm not one to like buy full rainbows. I'm not usually one to like buy I just want the best card and that's it. But like, this card was included in the lot. It came along for the ride, and I've kept it. Like, it is pretty cool to have it paired together with the vertical. But like so this is card number 351. So the horizontal is the vertical is 311. The horizontal is 351. So like, this is just a later appearing base card, but it's cool. These are the 2 McCaffrey base set cards. These are the 2 1-of-1 parallels to it. I'm pretty sure there's only one 1-of-1 parallel to each of them. So, like, my thinking is like Contenders, it has such a great brand in football. It has such an important lineage going back to Brady and even going back further than that, Peyton. That's a card that another one, when it came to auction, there was no way I was going to lose it.
I can't believe they were bundled together.
Made life easy.
Yeah. Okay, I think what's sticking out to me is this Prizm stuff you got going on here. Should we go down? Should we do it in order? Is there another way you want to do it?
Yeah, we can do it in order. We'll just go from rookie year on down, and spoiler, there are all of them. Every Prizm Black Finite 1-of-1 of Christian McCaffrey is in this collection, and Prizm is the only product that I've taken to collecting non-rookie cards of McCaffrey for, because I just love Prizm, and I think across any sports, the Prizm Black Finite is the best parallel. I wish basketball was the Black Finite, but it's not. But I love Prizm, love the Prizm Black Finite, and the anxiety, the biggest anxiety moment of every year for me as a collector is when the new Prizm comes out, and I know that I have to get the McCaffrey. So, then it just becomes this waiting game of like, first of all, you worry, is it going to get pulled out of a pack? Then you worry, if it does get pulled, is it going to go into a collection? I actually had a McCaffrey collector approach me this year and try to buy my 2022 Prizm Black Finite of McCaffrey, and he was building the rainbow, and he had everything, or damn near everything. He had the other 1-of-1s, I think, and he needed the Black Finite, and he was like, hey man, like, don't worry, like, just give me a number. It doesn't even matter. Like, it can be a high number. I really need this for my rainbow. And I'm like, sorry, man. Like, there's no number.
Stick with your Stick with your black shimmer.
I'm just like, dude, like, I'm like, man, this is the hobby karma. Like, how do I play this correctly? Because like, if the shoe was on the other foot and he had the rainbow and I needed the card, but it's not. Like, I have the card, he needs it for the rainbow. He's like coming in hot. I'll make a really strong offer. You're like, just give me the price. I don't even care. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but there is no price. Like, there's no way I'm gonna break up the McCaffrey Black Finite run. I just can't do it. And it felt awful. It really felt bad.
So what's it like? So this happens a lot where rainbow collectors come at you, and there's a situation where I owned the 22 Matt Ryan Black Finite, and someone had the rainbow but that card, and I didn't have a deep Ryan collection. I didn't want to sell it at the time, but eventually I was getting to this point where I was looking to get another card, and I knew I could sell that card to a collector, satisfy his rainbow, and I did it. I look back on it now, and I kind of regret it based on my focus with what I'm doing with the Colts Prizm stuff, but that's neither here nor there. What I wanted to focus on is like there are times where we can satisfy these rainbows, but then you didn't just like deny the rainbow. You've got something going on that transcends the rainbow. Like you are.
Right.
I don't know anybody else who has an entire run of. I'm working on it with Andrew Luck, but I'm not quite.
You're getting close.
I'm not quite to where you are. You've got every year. So how does that conversation go? Like, did you convey that to them? Did he understand?
Yeah, I did, because I was hoping that it would somehow help him understand why I can't help him in this particular instance. I would hope it would help him understand that, I have this run going and like I'm a huge McCaffrey fan and like I just can't do it, So like I show it, like I like, here, like look, here's all the other ones too, man. Like even the rookie, like I've got them all, and it's been a battle and a lot of luck involved to land all these. So
was this like your most recent one you got, or
the rookie?
Your most recent? Yes.
No, the rookie was 2 years ago.
Okay.
At the Mint Collective, I think in the fall. The card showed up at a card shop in Seattle, and it was just like some guy was just like showing a pile of cards, and it just was like one of the cards. Like the card shop owner was just showing new inventory in the shop, and that was just one of the random cards, which was insane. And apparently the owner of the card had like went into the shop and he traded a pile of cards for some really nice Mahomes rookie autographs, and that card was lumped in. And the guy didn't have social media. Like, he had, I don't know if he'd ever heard of my offers or my bounty or not, probably not. But somebody who had heard of my bounty, who knew the owner of the shop, did see the card and just checked with me to make sure the bounty was good. I said it is. He went ahead and secured it at the bounty price. And then and I knew him. From many years ago at trade nights at the Bullpen LA card shop, where we had run into each other coincidentally. And then, hear that like that little chance encounter of just kind of us rubbing shoulders at a random trade night comes to pay dividends many years later when this card shows up and he knows about my bounty. He bought it. He brought it down to the bullpen. And we were in Vegas for the Mint Collective, or maybe, actually it may have been the industry summit. But anyway, we were in Vegas for an industry event. I drove out to LA from Vegas to go meet him, met with him, picked up the card, did the swap at the shop, which was just perfectly fitting because that's where we first met each other. But that was about 2 years ago.
Oh man, incredible card. Let's talk about. Let's see here. Here's the
most recent edition is the most recent. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, here, we have this is the 2018 Prizm Black McCaffrey. A great year of Prizm design for me because it's Luka's rookie year. So like the imagery of 2018 Prizm across sports is just so iconic to me because I've just seen it so many times.
I've got the only raw one I have is my luck right now. And dude, it is like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on what it is about 2018 Black Finite. And I don't know if it's like the nostalgia of just getting back into cards and those cards being everywhere, but there's something cool about this year that I think meshes well. Design plus finite feature equals cool card.
Agreed.
All right. So we got the 18. Let's hit the 19, which...
Yeah. The 19, this was one of the first ones that I added, the first or the second one that I added. And it just came from a fellow collector on Instagram. This is like years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, probably. And it just came from a fellow collector who was like, hey, I see that you're collecting McCaffrey. Like, I picked this card up. Are you interested? And gave it to me for a fair price. And I've had it ever since, graded it myself. It's a beautiful card. 2019 is like super iconic too. That's the Zion Williamson and the John Morant rookie year. They have like those like rings the ring, weird rings in the design and stuff. Like it's a great card.
Hey, what a DM to get. It's like, hey, you're collecting this player. Here's like one of their best cards. Are you interested? It's like that never happens anymore.
No, but it speaks to like not like it speaks to sharing your collection, but letting people know organically. Like it's one thing if you say like I'm a big collector of let's pick a player. I'm a big collector of Brandon Ayuk, and I just like it's one thing if I say it, but it's another thing if like over a period of months and months and years, I'm showing the pickups, I'm acquiring a certain type of card, people become familiar with it. I write a paragraph about it, I post it. Like people come to know you in a more authentic way rather than you like instructing somebody, I am looking for this. Instead, they learn it. They discover for themselves that you are collecting this and that you're looking for it. And it encourages people when they see something and they sort of naturally think about you. It can bring cards to you that you would not be able to find. And like, I'll be honest, I'm not a great locator of cards. There are people out there who are great locators of cards, and they know
it's a skill.
It is. It's a skill, and it's one that I'm not particularly good at. I'm not terrible at it. I have procured a few cards in my day, but I'm not the best at it. And so, but what I do have going for me is that I'm visible. I have a collector page. I post a lot of my pickups. I try to post all of them, but sometimes I don't. So there's lots of cards missing from my Instagram, but I try to post them all, at least to my story. And then people just see and they discover that this is what I collect. And then all of a sudden, moments like that can happen where somebody's just like, well, I have this, and would you like it? And, otherwise I would have never found it. Okay, so we have here the 2020.
Dude, and I want to say this, like 2020 is not like my favorite year of Prizm, but dude, this image of McCaffrey is one of my favorites because it's such a like, this is when I close my eyes and I think about him playing football. It's just like there's a defender that is off the card that he is getting ready to just stiff arm and probably take it to the house. So I just think this one looks so cool.
It does. And like what's special about that one is that in all likelihood is an in-game photograph of him from his 2019 season, the season prior to 2020. And during that season, he had 1,400 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. And it was his first Pro Bowl, his first team All-Pro. He joined Marshall Falk, I think Roger Craig, or maybe there's one other, but he became one of only like 3 or 4 players to do the 1,000 season. And like, in my opinion, it's probably still his greatest season. His 2019 season is probably his greatest season. So like it's celebrating, one of the great seasons that he's ever had.
I love it. Very cool card. So that was the 20. Let's go to the 21 here.
The 20 also was another one that came to me via Instagram from a collector friend.
There we go.
The 21. I know that I graded this myself. I don't remember how this one came to me. I know that there is a story to it. And I in the Card Ladder app, I write there's like a little section for notes. Yeah, okay, so right here, purchased raw. Okay, yeah, so this card got pulled. This card got pulled in a break, and somebody tagged me in the comments of the break. And then from there, the breaker posted it. I contacted the breaker. The breaker put me in touch with the person who pulled it, and the person who pulled it sold it to me. And then I graded it myself at the 2022 National in Atlantic City.
You're a big fan of grading at the shows. I've picked that up from you over the years.
And I'll tell you why. It's because it's because I need some way. Like I said, I'm not a great procurer of cards. Like I don't know how to like walk the show and just like find all the best cards and stuff like that. But the way that I get to have my mail day and my moment at the show usually is like I bring my raw cards, I accumulate my favorite ones over the course of a year, and I grade them at the National, and then the fun is getting them back and seeing what they grade. Okay, we have the 2022. There's a crazy – the way that this card was found is crazy because a woman pulled it from a box. She went in, bought a hobby box at a local card shop in New York, in like upstate New York. I think it was upstate New York. It was somewhere in New York, not in the city. And she pulled the card from a hobby box and just like posted it to a Facebook group and was just like, anybody, anybody want to offer on this card? What do you guys think? And like, that is when I really panic, because it's like, somebody like a flipper might slide in here and buy this card for a few $100. And then like, now the card is locked away in the flipper's grip. And then, and then they can place it to a different collector if they don't know who I am, or somebody else might get to it before me. Like, the panic sets in. So somebody tipped me off to it. I wasn't even in the Facebook group. So I have to get approval to join, and I'm just like, it's killing me, just waiting. And I get in, I message her, I make a crazy offer. It's really not that crazy, but it blew her away, I guess. It was a strong offer. But since I've paid more, but for another one, but I made the offer, and she was like, "Wow, are you sure?" Like, she might have thought it was a scam or something. She had no idea that the card could be worth a 4-figure amount. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Like, I have to do this pitch every time. It's like, here's the other ones that I have, which is a dangerous pitch too, because like, if somebody sees that, they're like, "Well, maybe I can extract more from you and stuff." But that's how
That's what, just somebody just ripping a hobby box, pulling the card, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you posted in the Facebook card and book or Facebook group, and then you come in and you're like, this is what I'm going to give you. And it's like, it's like she just hit the lottery or something.
Yeah. Then the vultures descend. I fly in there. All right. And then, the final one here is the most recent, the second 49ers uniform, McCaffrey.
What do you think about 2023 from a design perspective?
I have a few Prizms from 2023 now. I have the Jokic Black Shimmer 1/1. I have the McCaffrey Black Finite 1/1. And but the thing about Prizm is that I almost never like the design at release. And then after I see it a bunch of times, and I see a bunch of cards come out, and like, I see some sales happen, and I see how they look in slabs, and then it grows on me. I think this is one of the best looking McCaffrey Prizms, is this one. So what do you think about it? You like it?
I think I feel like the last 3 or so years, 29. Some people will say like 2019 is their least favorite, but it'll always be in my wheelhouse because of the time and place when that dropped. So like, I have some love for 2019, but like 2021, 22, like, I think there's some forgettable nature to those. And then when I saw like 23, I was like, okay, return to form, like something about this. I don't know if it was the name, the team name at the top here, but just like the how sharp the borders are. I just think it's a cool design, and every card that I've got from 2023, I'm just always very excited about it. I'm like, this is a good looking card, so I'm a fan of this, and I would agree. Like, I love these action shots of McCaffrey, and this one is definitely one of my favorites. If I'm just looking at cards, I think this one looks really cool.
Yeah, and the thing that's cool about Prizm design that sort of like makes the player just like jump out of the card is that under the nameplate at the bottom of the card, the image of the player is always tucked behind. So you can see that his shins and his feet are behind the nameplate. But at the top of the card, whatever imagery there may be, the brand or the team name, the player is always on top of it. So like, the feet are tucked in, but the top of the player is shooting out on top of the design. It just makes the player feel like they're coming right at you. It's a really nice design element that has been consistent across all the years of Prizm.
So I think we hit on everything, which is incredible and amazing. I guess for you, as we close this out, there's a lot here, a lot of really cool cards. I know when the next Prizm, which won't be for a while, product drops, What do you got? Are you going to have to do this one more time? Is there going to be one more Prizm football, or is there going to be more?
There's going to be 2024 Prizm football, and there's going to be 2025 Prizm football.
Okay, so you're going to have 2 more, and then you can like rest easy. Outside, is there anything else that you're like focused on from a McCaffrey perspective?
Unless Fanatics acquires the brand.
Oh Lord, yeah, I haven't. My brain hasn't gone in that direction yet.
Yeah, I don't. I think Panini may just continue manufacturing cards though, and just try to wait out Fanatics or. And that's maybe a bit of wishful thinking, but I do hope the Prizm ends just so that this run ends.
I agree. I can collect Prizm all day. Everybody knows that, but like, I don't want it to end up being something that I like look at and I'm just upset about.
Right. Exactly.
So, just as we close it out, is there anything else from a McCaffrey perspective? Are you just kind of set, feeling content, and in case something else like the Concourse comes your way, then you might be interested? Or are you actively pursuing what is your position with your McCaffrey collection right now?
I still keep an eye on new listings on all the marketplaces for McCaffrey. I'm always watching to see what comes out. A card that would be really interesting to me would be the Shield 1-of-1 autograph parallel to his true RPA from Immaculate. So there is an Immaculate Shield autograph of his that's out there. I think it's on eBay. But it's from an insert set. And so that's great. It's a really great looking card, but like, it's not really what I'm looking for. But if the Immaculate Shield auto 1-of-1 parallel to his base set RPA, if that ever came out, I'd probably make a run at that. And looking for the field level Select Black 1-of-1. Might need to try and see if I can get back my Select XRC Black 1-of-1. Outside of those 3 cards, there's really not a McCaffrey card I'm looking for. I'm kind of like, and of course continuing the Black Finite Prizms. But other than that, like, I think I'm pretty close to being pretty settled with the McCaffrey PC. Like, there's still, work to be done around the edges, but I'm pretty content with where it is.
Stunning collection. Appreciate you sharing it. Here you go, everybody. I know you want more collector showcase. This is a pretty damn cool one. Chris, as always, appreciate the time and talking cards, man. Looking forward to doing it again very soon.
Thanks, man.